Those Were the Days is filmed before a live internet audience.
Dateline, Those Were the Days. The show, like New York City, that never sleeps. Mostly because something out there is always keeping it awake. Classic TV shows about vampires, werewolves, zombies. Take your pick. I've seen them all. And every time, somebody tells me I'm crazy. Well, maybe I am. But if being crazy is believing your neighbor could be a centuries-old ghoul with a taste for a late-night bite, then call me nuts and pass the garlic. And while I might be reporting on strange old television shows, I can't do it by myself. No, I may be an intrepid podcaster, but I need my long-suffering editor, Amy.
You know, after seeing how his day goes, now I understand why a man would go home and get really frustrated with the furnace that doesn't work, or its young son that will only eat when acting like a little piggy, or when the older son loses all the bolts of the tire in the snow. I get it. He's going through a lot.
He's working the graveyard shift in the morgue. It's Audie.
Okay, so we need a whistle for this TV intro thing, huh? Okay, let's think. No, wait, that's Robin Hood. That's not even TV. Let's see. Let's see. What do we got? Oh, let me think about. Nope, that's not working. What about? You know what? We'll just have the musicians do it, and I'll follow along with them. We'll figure it out.
And sure, his uncle owns the news service, but he went to Columbia School of Journalism. It's Steven.
There's nothing like sneaking around in the dark wearing your finest seersucker suit and barbershop quartet hat. It's Kolchak.
That's right. We are wrapping up our spooky season talking about a little show called Kolchak, the Night Stalker. Before I get into the show itself and the history of it, I want to know if any of you were familiar with this show at all, or if you were like me and did like it. So I'm going to start, Audie, with you.
No idea this show existed at all.
My favorite kind of show.
Never heard of it.
Okay.
And it's really funny because I feel like it's funny. I was looking at it, and after watching it, looking at everything about it, I was like, where have I seen Darren McGavin before? And I'm like, I don't recognize half the stuff he's been in, but I know I've seen him. So sure. Okay. Like, I didn't think of the things that he's been in as, oh yeah, I've seen that. That's where I've seen him, you know?
Right. Stephen, how about you? Were you at all familiar with this?
Travis, for the longest time, I thought we were going to talk about Kojak, not Kolchak. So, no, I wasn't familiar at all with this show, but as soon as it came on, I'm like, I know that guy. Where do I know that guy from? And then I was like, Bumpus Hounds! And I totally knew it. Darren McGavin is America's Jim Broadbent.
Yes, that's a good one. That's a good call.
That's because he's got a cartoon face. And Jim Broadbent is the same way. And that's all I can think about this whole time.
All right. Amy, were you at all familiar with this show?
Trav, I never heard of this show, Trav. I never heard of it.
So, okay, we're 3 for 3. So I knew of this show. I stumbled upon this at some point on like a Saturday afternoon. It might have been early days of the Sci-Fi Channel.
Sure.
And it was a very specific episode that I'm going to get to. Not this one that we watched, but another one. But I stumbled upon it, and then I remember my dad coming in and being like, "Oh, it's Kolchak, the Night Stalker." He's like, "I remember this show," and we were big into X-Files at the time. He's like, X-Files owes a lot to this show, probably. Like it feel, and he made that comment not knowing that, yes, Chris Carter actually said this was a huge influence on the X-Files, was Kolchak the Night Stalker. So this show ran on ABC originally from September 13th, 1974 to March 28th, 1975. It was one season. But that's not where everything started. So the character of Carl Kolchak actually came from a novel written by a guy named Jeff Rice called The Kolchak Papers. And the novel got turned into a made-for-TV movie before it was even published. ABC bought the rights, and they got Richard Matheson to write a screenplay for The Night Stalker. So 1972, starring Darren McGavin as Kolchak. In that story, he is a newspaper reporter in Las Vegas, and there is a serial killer, turns out to be a vampire. And that was where the character started. Wildly popular at the time. Huge ratings for a TV movie. So a couple of years later, they did a second one, actually a year later, called The Night Strangler. And in this one, now he's in Seattle. They used a fictional version of the Seattle Underground. The funny thing is, his same editor is in Seattle now. So the character kept following him around. But again, Richard Matheson wrote the second screenplay, teleplay. They made that movie. It was also popular. They were going to do a third movie, and then ABC said, why don't we make it a series instead? And Matheson did not stay on to write the series. Instead, they went on to do that. It only lasted one season, in part because Darren McGavin kind of got tired of it relatively quickly for a couple of reasons. One, he wanted it to be more of a serialized story, kind of continuation of the vampire part of it but ABC wanted the Monster of the Week.
Yeah.
The other thing was he was doing a lot of executive producer duties on the show, uncredited and not being paid extra for it, and working, as you saw in this episode, a lot of nights. Shooting would go late into the night. So he ended up asking to be let out of his contract early, and so they only made one season, 20 episodes of the show. It did okay in its ratings in its initial year, but it kind of caught on in syndication. Was actually brought back by CBS a few years later, because not all the episodes ran initially, and then CBS played a few more of them, and then they took a couple episodes and turned them into another TV movie before finally sort of packaging it all up as one series plus the two movies, and that's where Sci-Fi Channel got it and all that. But it was actually very influential at its time. The X-Files being a big one. Chris Carter said, like, that's what kind of got things going for the X-Files, was basing it around this, because the whole show, the premise of it is Carl Kolchak works for the INS, the Independent News Service. And he's a reporter, and all of his stories end up having some sort of supernatural or conspiracy angle to them that he kind of runs with, and no one believes him. And by the end of the episode, something happens where he like loses his evidence, or nobody believes his story, and he moves on to the next one. And that's kind of what happened in this. But he dealt with vampires, with werewolves, with the first episode that I saw is one called Chopper, and it dealt with the ghost, or the like reanimated corpse of a dead motorcycle gang member who had been beheaded.
Okay.
You know,
So
as you do.
he had
Kinda
been
like Ghost
beheaded,
Rider.
but he was riding around on a motorcycle with like a samurai sword, decapitating people. And it was the 1970s, and you can imagine watching this episode what the budget was like. So it was very clearly somebody wearing like fake shoulders,
Like a
so their
big
torso
shirt.
was
Yeah.
ridiculously
now I really
long.
want to watch that just to see that.
The really cool thing that I did not know until tonight is that episode's story was written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale.
No
Shut the front
way.
door.
Their first credits were an episode of
Incredible.
Kolchak the Night Stalker.
Wow.
What are they known for our listeners at home who only care about really old stuff, Travis?
Back to the Future, maybe,
Just a
There's
little,
one.
little series
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. One,
among,
two,
among
and
a few
three.
other things.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I did not know that until tonight, which I
That's
thought was really
crazy.
cool. So like I said, the show didn't do great ratings, but it did catch on and get a cult following. And then they actually, enough of a cult following, there was a revival series in 2005, just called Night Stalker, that also lasted a season. Didn't really do that well. In part because, like the three of you, nobody knew Kolchak the Night Stalker. This was one of those shows that for the longest time, I thought I was the only person that had ever heard of it. And I still kind of do in a lot of ways. Like,
I mean, so
it's
far.
it's pretty rare to find other people that watched or remember Kolchak the Night Stalker, but I definitely do.
I mean, I watched it and I'm not sure that it's real.
Does feel like a fever dream. And
Yeah.
the new one that came out, I mean, that was at a time when TV was changing, like we're starting to get into newer, different viewing patterns, so to
Mhm.
speak.
Yep, and that actually starred Stuart Townsend as
Yeah.
Carl Kolchak. There was some other legacy though. So X-Files, there were, Twilight Zone and Outer Limits revivals had some influence from Kolchak, who obviously had influence from Twilight Zone earlier than that even. But he even popped up in there was a comic shortly after the series in 1976. There was a Tomb of Dracula comic from Marvel that had a character named Paul Butterworth that was an investigative reporter that definitely looked like Carl Kolchak. He was wearing the seersucker suit, the hat, and all that, which was a Darren McGavin idea for the suit and everything. And basically, he wears the same suit all the time because he just doesn't have any money. It's the only suit he owns.
Sure.
A couple of the fun things were the opening to it, to the series, when he walks into the INS and he throws his hat onto the hook and it misses and falls into the trash can. Early episodes in the initial run actually had his hat stick on the hook, and he gives this really incredulous look because it wasn't supposed to happen, but he did it the first time. And then it was later episodes that he missed, and then in all the subsequent reruns, they only used that second opening.
They could have done that the Dick Van Dyke Show kind of thing. Like, is it going to land or is it not?
Right.
Exactly. So we watched episode 2 of this series called The Zombie.
I knew how it was going to be. I knew how it was going to be. It was from 1974 and it's called The Zombie, and I knew how it was going to be, and I was still upset.
You knew where it was going to go.
I knew where it was going to go. Although I will say that courtesy of where it was going to go, we got some killer outfits.
Oh
man.
my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
And a really
did we
good
ever.
joke about a chicken that was really, really great.
So this episode opens up. First of all, I love the opening music. It's so 70s it hurts.
My cat, by the way, was like, "What is happening?" when he started whistling. Like, it's dead asleep on the back of the couch, just perks up. Like, what does that sound?
What is
He
that?
started whistling, the music comes in, and then I've never heard such a record scratch without a record of music changing
Yes.
completely.
So interesting thing about that music, that opening music was written for a show called The Questor Tapes, which was a Gene Roddenberry produced TV movie / failed pilot that Universal had, and so they reused the music for Kolchak.
Good. Great.
So
You
Sure.
paid for it. You
Right.
should use it.
Yeah. So I love the opening because the whole series was always like this, with that sort of hard-boiled detective, investigative reporter voiceover from Darren McGavin.
So good.
That was good.
And we get the opening with the mob guys, and they're counting money in the back of a
Coins.
tractor trailer. Coins.
Right.
Coins.
And then somebody breaks into the tractor trailer, and we just see guns firing and guys getting tossed around.
Guns
and
firing
that's it.
pointed very high.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which that was important. I
Um,
was like, this is either important or bad. I can't tell.
and we get a little bit of backstory about who some of these guys are, but they're mobsters. That's who they are.
Yep. They run
so-
numbers.
Yep, they run numbers, and now we're into the office of the INS, the what is it, the
Independent.
Independent News
News
Service.
Right.
And we're in Chicago, by the way. So Carl has gone from Las Vegas to Seattle to Chicago, which they did film exteriors and a few things in Chicago, but most of it was filmed at Universal Backlot in
Sure.
California.
Like you do.
Yep. I also love that while Carl moved around, Tony, his editor here, Tony Vincenzo, also did. He was in Las Vegas, then he was working at a newspaper in Seattle, and apparently in the Night Strangler, he just runs into Carl like in a bar and hires him, and then now he's with Carl at INS in Chicago. So they just keep bringing him around. Tony, played by Simon Oakland, and he's basically what you saw in this episode is him in every episode. Just
Yeah.
just done with Carl. Can't
Mhm.
stand him, but they're friends, so he puts up with him. But Carl's got a great scoop for him, and I love him like trying to butter him up about it. Like I got this great one for you. It's a police raid. You're gonna be the first one there. What's the catch? And he like glances over at Monique,
Mhm.
played by Carol Ann Susie, who you might not know the name, you might not recognize her, but if you've ever watched The Big Bang Theory, you heard her voice because she was Mrs. Wallowitz.
No way.
This was her first credit.
Oh my gosh. That's
Um,
amazing.
So she plays Monique Marmelstein, who is going to be sent with Carl. She is the niece of, I guess, I don't know if he owns the INS or what, but whoever
Yeah,
it is, somebody from New
He
York.
owns the paper.
Right.
Yeah. And Carl wants nothing to do with her.
Yeah, you know why he wants nothing to do with her? Because she's not thin and blonde, gang.
Amy
I
picked up
clocked
on
it.
it.
I clocked it. I was
Mhm.
like, oh no, she is not a size 2, nor is she blonde. She's not a fast talking dame.
No.
Oh, bummer. I hope she
Um,
doesn't wind up in a trunk.
I was worried about her in that trunk. Not gonna lie.
And
I mean, they did not have emergency hatches.
No.
I absolutely love the trope of no, never, not going to happen. Smash
My
cut. It's
favorite
happened.
smash cut to the
Right.
thing. I absolutely, that is one of my favorite tropes ever.
Yep.
Just the hard smash cut to and over my dead body.
Yep. It never fails to be perfect.
So
I also love the way Darren McGavin was overplaying this whole thing.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's as animated in this as he is in Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Like just flamboyant, throwing his arms everywhere. He has masterful control over every muscle in his face.
Yes.
I love watching him, even when he's over the top. When he's over the top, it's best.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I loved Carl's car because he drives a 1965 Mustang convertible in like a cream.
The creamy color.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing the like, man, why I wouldn't drive up into this dangerous situation with the top down. And I've come to decide that maybe the top cannot go up
Yeah,
anymore.
that's my guess.
The way he just, power slid into this whole
So
gunfight is just wow.
Because it's a police raid
Yeah.
at the Russo's farm.
yeah.
at their orchard and
Yep.
cidery.
Right.
Yeah, what's up?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Cider. Uh-huh.
And I love because Carl drives up and Monique immediately gets out and just goes like straight over, like she's going to take pictures in front of the cops that are firing.
All
at
firing
this barn.
their weapons.
Yes, it's loud.
But it's the same. It's like it's the same like 3 gunshot sound
Mhm.
effect.
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah.
No, that's all they could afford.
That and the
but-
machine guns coming from the barn.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Carl does get her and tricks her into the trunk and then closes the trunk on her.
Somebody get that dame or something. I can't remember the line, but they
Oh, yeah.
several,
Yeah.
like
Well, no. So the line it starts with something about like get that female out of here,
Yeah.
and then
Right.
after she's in the trunk, the Kolchak
The-
goes over to the cop, and the cop's like, "What are you trying to pull with that dame?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "All right, boys,
Mhm.
boys, come
Yep.
on. It's fine. This won't be the most offensive thing that happens in the episode. It's fine. Let's just roll."
So the shootout ends, and the police won't let anyone into the barn. So Carl's got to go get more information from somewhere else. So he heads for the morgue because he knows a guy that works at the morgue
Which
named Gordy the
It
Ghoul.
does.
played incredibly well by mister
Mhm.
Sterling Holloway.
Yep.
If you don't know who Sterling Holloway is, you certainly know his voice because he is the legendary first actor of Winnie the Pooh and Piglet.
Mhm.
Mhm.
John Fiedler,
Yeah. Yep.
who we
Fantastic.
saw in an episode of The Twilight Zone a while back. This isn't
Oh,
our
wow.
first time we've seen John Fiedler. And I clocked his voice right away. I'm like, wait a minute.
Wait a
You're
minute. I
right.
was like,
Uh-huh.
I know that.
And he
one.
is Gordy, a.k.a. Gordy the Ghoul, who works at the morgue, and he's running a betting pool.
on
And somehow
the
knows
years
everything.
on the years of the the bodies that are gonna come in.
Yep, the year that the
So
body
good.
coming in was born.
I love, man. That's a hell of a betting pool.
He's got that going on, and he's just nickel and diming Carl for any information.
I love
is-
how everybody is in this entire
Oh yeah,
episode.
oh yeah. Kind of a running gag, and if you notice, every time Carl's pulling money out, it's like a dollar he's giving.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, he
He's
does
giving
give
them
him a 20
singles.
at one point when he's
That's
like,
true.
I wouldn't
Right.
even tell you for $20. And he hands him a 20.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look at that. I'll tell you
Alright.
So Gordy lets him know that one of the bodies from the shootout that he needs help with, he tells him he needs to help him schlep this body.
Yes.
Yep.
I
we
love the
schlepping.
word schlep.
hmm
It's a good one.
And then he tells him, yeah, we had this body here last week. He'd been shot 6 times by a 44. And now he's back, which is okay. So, and he had chicken blood in his ears this time.
Yeah.
This leads to the best. That then comes like one of the best parts.
Yeah. So while he's there, Carl gets a phone call because a phone call
Mhm.
comes into the morgue, and Gordy's like, "Hey, it's for you. It's Tony. Tony
Right.
is calling Carl because Monique is upset that she was locked in the trunk for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Uncle Abe is upset.
And Uncle Abe is going to be upset.
Let's face
Yeah.
it. That's the bigger problem.
Right. Exactly.
And she was never let out on screen, so as far as we know, she's been in the trunk since the shootout and during the visit to the morgue.
Yeah.
So Carl's at the morgue. Carl's on the phone, but he's not listening to Tony. He's talking to Gordy, who's talking
Right.
to. This is again one of my favorite tropes: is
So
the
good.
like
Mhm.
three-way
The-
conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
And we keep cutting back and forth. So the conversation is so good with Tony and Carl and Gordy, and I was dying the whole time.
Until the very end when it's like he's, Tony thinks Carl's going to apologize to Monique. Carl finally picks up the phone. It's like, hello? No one's there. And he hangs up as soon as Monique gets on the phone. I was just
Yep.
like, oh, that was brilliant.
So good.
Oh, it was amazing. So now let's see. Then we get the police briefing like the next morning, basically, or
Mhm.
later that day. I don't know. Timelines are kind of did
Yeah, it's
whatever.
very fuzzy.
An indeterminate amount of time later, Carl shows up at the police briefing with Captain Winwood, who
Just
was
know
at
it
the shootout.
daytime.
Because that's what police captains do. They actually show up to
Mhm.
raids. And Carl's like trying to get information about why there was a guy found that had been shot 6 times, but not by police.
Mhm.
And also why the guys from the beginning that were supposed to have been killed by blunt force trauma actually had their spines snapped.
And why there were 3 bodies instead of 2.
Yes.
Mhm.
Which the police captain kind of waves off. It does mention, yes, we do have that body, but that's about it. So then Carl's going to the cemetery. And my favorite character in this episode is at the cemetery, and that's the caretaker.
Oh,
Because the
my
caretaker,
favorite pro-union man ever.
yes, the caretaker, all he cares about are union bylaws,
I love him.
and it was great. And he's complaining because they're putting a casket into the same plot that they put someone in last week.
You're not supposed to put him in like a high rise. That's
He was
against
great.
the regulations.
That caretaker was played by J. Pat O'Malley, and I just wanted a whole series on him. He was awesome.
Yeah.
While Carl is there, the captain shows up. Again, why a police captain is showing up for this, and even Carl mentions that. Like, why is a
Mhm.
a brass button captain, gold button captain showing up to bury this pauper in a grave for the second time in a week?
We should mention the man is black. It becomes important.
Mhm.
I mentioned a lot
It does, and it is.
in some
Mhm.
dated language, which was fine. I mean, in overall fine dated language. It was the quote unquote correct language. of the-
Yes, it was not the harsh the harsh dated
No,
language.
no,
It
no.
was the,
That was because it was inappropriate to say black back.
right. It was the
That, like,
generally
when it
accepted
rolls.
version of
Yeah.
the dated language that we're talking about.
It's fine.
It's still harsh to our modern
the other
ears.
N word.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's still a lot to our modern ears.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
But we find out that his name is Francois Edmonds, and he's Haitian.
Okay.
That's important.
But he said Francoise so many times, and I got
He-
so upset.
yes,
did,
and
and
you
that did.
should.
I was so upset.
That was a big
Mhm.
foul. I heard it too.
Mhm.
Like, wait a minute. Is this like we say Illinois and Des Moines
Illinois.
Uh-huh.
and Francoise? Like, come on, y'all.
So he works for running numbers, and so Carl goes out doing his hit the streets. I'm gonna find stuff out, and basically it's just a shot of him driving, and
Mhm.
we get the voiceover of he was going around all day talking to the numbers guys
This
around
Mhm.
town.
this moment is when I realized like this show has several different shooting styles that it's
Mhm.
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
going for. Like in some sequences, it's basically a 3-camera shoot, and
Yep.
then it's handy cam footage before we really knew how to do that.
Right.
And then there's these like driving shots with depth of field and stuff going on. This is a cinematographer's playground. They can get their education in all kinds of different ways to shoot a scene.
And I think some of that is because like the driving shots and things they would have done all sort of at once in Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and then just insert those into episodes.
right.
But everything they shot on the back lot, they would shoot like you would shoot the rest of your series.
Yeah.
They did do a lot in this series of single camera setups and long takes because
Mhm.
it was faster to shoot that way, but it was harder for the actors because they might have to remember a lot of lines and or marks that they had to
Yeah.
hit in scenes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was again part of what made it difficult and why it probably only lasted a season.
Yeah, it was a struggle for me as a viewer because the visual language was all over the place, right? Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
it was just constant movement and changes and trying to get a bead on what you're doing is harder as a viewer. To me, as someone who pays attention to that kind of stuff. Maybe if you weren't paying attention to that kind of stuff, it would be jarring, but you wouldn't know why.
Yeah.
But I found it to be difficult to keep up with because of that.
So Carl heads to a store because he's told he's asking around about Francois, and he's told he needs to go get a lucky number.
Mhm.
So he heads
Mhm.
for a shop, and he talks to Uncle Philemon, which was my favorite of the cameos in this episode because it was Scatman Crothers,
Yep.
and I love
Yeah.
Scatman Crothers. That man never had hair, apparently. But he is Uncle Philemon. He is going to give him I love it too, like a lucky number costs $11 up front. And there's a moment where Carl's like, are you related to, never mind.
Yeah. I know.
And while that's going on, we get not one of the mobsters, but someone else that's in the numbers game, a man by the name of Sweet Stick.
It
Shows
sure
up.
is.
I love Sweet
Mhm.
Stick.
With his pimp cane.
Yep.
Mm.
This outfit was fine, but one of his boys had an outfit that was so good.
Oh yeah, no, his goons
His
had
tie, though, I believe that this was it was like 6 inches wide at the bottom. It was so good.
Yeah.
Ugh.
the 70s were the era
love
of
the
fat
70s,
ties
man.
for sure. So they're basically telling Kolchak, I love, this is another good running gag, which is Carl always saying like, no, that was my brother, Marshall
Yes.
Kolchak.
So
Right.
good.
That was hilarious.
Because he's got a reputation for the stuff that he writes, and Sweet Stick didn't like what he wrote about him. No, that's my brother, Marshall Kolchak.
Mhm.
Right.
But they basically shake him down and just tell him to leave it alone. And then throw him out of the store. So he goes to one of his
Physically
informants.
lift into a trash can, which is
Yep.
important because
Oh,
you,
yeah.
you haven't really been thrown out of an establishment unless you land in garbage.
That's true.
Mhm.
So he goes to another one of his informants, the monk, which is just a guy in a jacket that
Yeah,
you never
hoodie.
see his
Right.
face.
This is the weirdest scene. Just the
Several
weirdest.
times.
Yeah.
But the monk tells him about a meeting with Sweet Stick and an Italian mobster by the name of Sposato that's going down.
Mhm.
But Monk tells him this in like telephone game kind of way, where
Yeah.
he's just a hooded figure, and what we know he's saying is because Kolchak is, oh, so we go down to the place, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta. Oh, it's that person? Yeah, I thought like it's that Bob Newhart style jam where you're
Yeah.
telling the joke, you're filling in the gaps of the person telling it, and it also felt incredibly rushed and low budget. Like I need
Yeah.
a crew guy. Just please, just put this on.
Put on a hoodie. Go
I'll
talk
pay
to
you
the guy.
rate. Just go stand there.
We can't even pay you scale.
We
You just have
cannot
to-
afford another person that speaks.
No, no
You
more
can't have a
speaking
speaking part.
parts. You're just gonna stand on screen, effectively an extra who's just really close to the lead.
Try not to let us see your face at all.
Yep. So Carl goes to a parking garage where Spasato and Sweet Stick are having a little, clandestine meeting.
Mhm.
Basically, Spasato is upset because the guys that were killed at the beginning of the episode were his goons and his brother-in-law. And he's upset about that, and he blames Sweet Stick and his operation for doing it, which Sweet Stick is like, wait, no, it's not my guys.
Right.
And Carl is trying to record all of this secretly, which he would have
Well,
gotten away with.
I was going to say, he records successfully.
With his boombox.
Yes, that's what we had to record with in
I
1974.
know.
And he does record it successfully, but then what happens, Audie?
Then he tries to stop it and rewind it for some ridiculous reason because that's right when you need to be messing with your tape recorder.
Yep. Yeah. So it makes a bunch of noise.
Yeah, for
Spasato's
those of you
men-
who don't know, so he doesn't actually stop and rewind it. He just hits rewind, so it's still playing and rewinding. So it does.
Yep. makes a bunch of noise. Spasato's men grab him. I do love the scene where Spasato and his Vincent are interrogating Carl, right? Because
Mhm.
Funny.
we get yet another one where he says, "Oh, you were at my my niece's wedding or whatever." He's like, "No, you're thinking of my brother, Sidney Kolchak."
This is society pages. No, I remember your $2 hat.
And yet another of my favorite tropes, which are the Italian mobsters who flip between English and Italian whenever
Yep.
they're talking.
Yep.
Right.
Never gets old.
Nope.
So let's see. So they're gonna basically put the hurt on Carl, and he's like, "Wait! I know who's hurt. I know who killed your men," and he lets slip that it's Francois. And they're like, "Oh, well, that guy's dead. We killed him." He goes, I mean, he's buried twice, but he keeps getting out.
Mhm.
And so they go to the cemetery where the caretaker once again is like,
It's like it's
He's
illegal.
not-
It's against you.
No,
He's not
the-
going to stop him. First of all,
The best thing is, okay, they go to the cemetery, they make Kolchak dig up the grave.
yeah,
And that's when the cemetery guy comes out. It's like yelling at him. What do? They make him get down there and help Kolchak dig the grave.
right?
this is
but-
against union regulations. We're not supposed to be working at night.
Yeah. He doesn't care that they're digging up the grave. It's just that
not.
it's
It is
against the
at
body.
night.
Yeah. He's not worried about the
The
other part.
union's going to be upset. But they dig up, they unbury the casket, open it up, and he's empty.
No.
There's just a chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of corn.
And can we just say at this point, yes, lots of camera work done at night. Not much lighting
No,
done with any
no,
of this
no.
at all.
No.
No, we
they
were
didn't have the budget
My-
for lights.
My
No.
kingdom for a blue filter during the day. just make it blue.
Yeah,
It'll be
like
this
fine.
was an era where they weren't doing that,
Yeah.
and they were
We're
shooting
back
all of
there.
this at night.
someone
we're
dropped
back
the light
doing that.
meter down the
Yeah.
toilet, and they're like,
Mhm.
"Oh no,
Oh.
go
we
by
don't need
feel."
that. Yeah.
And while all this is going on, then we start hearing footsteps and a giant figure wander. Oh, before that though, Kolchak lets them know, like, yeah, this guy Edmonds is going after everybody who was involved in his killing.
Yeah.
And the
Mhm.
two mobsters start arguing over who chose,
ordered
like,
it?
who ordered the hit. It's very good.
You agreed to it.
I don't remember that. And then we hear the footsteps, and in walks this giant figure who takes Vincent and snaps him and throws him down into the grave. Snaps his spine like an almond biscotti. And then we cut to the police showing up just to find the dead body and Carl.
Not suspicious at all.
No,
No.
not at all. Not at all. They call Tony in to come pick him up because Carl doesn't have any family, I guess. It is one thing in the series, we never see Carl's at home. He's only ever
Hmm.
out working or at the office. But Carl is convinced that Edmonds is a zombie. Of course, the police captain, Winwood, doesn't believe him.
Right.
Tony doesn't believe him,
Of course.
but he's convinced that he's a zombie. And So he goes back to the monk to find out more information. And the monk gives him a name of Marie Juliette Edmonds, Mama Lois. So he goes to see her. She knows that he's coming somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes inside. She gives him some rum. And Amy, you seem to really enjoy this part
No, I
of the
can't.
episode.
So we didn't talk about in the numbers when he went to go get a lucky number at the voodoo store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, the voodoo store.
Yeah.
And he's throwing the bones, as one does.
Right.
And he asks him about what was your dream, what'd you dream last
what'd you
night?
dream about?
Oh, I dreamt about my friend Francoise. Oh, that's a bad dream. Your friend is dead.
Yeah.
So okay, and then he like when the other guys come in, he tries to like be chill. Be like, oh yeah, you just help them, and I'll just be over here. Like he's gonna casually eavesdrop, as if these men have not come specifically to rip his arms out of his
Right.
sockets. All right, and then she's just a lot, man. She's just a lot. She's from Haiti. And I
She
mean, we've
is.
seen
It's-
worse.
we have.
seen
I will
worse, but it
say
was not good.
It
Man.
wasn't great, but it could have been a lot worse.
I was actually feeling pretty good at this part in the house in her incredible bright red armchair.
Mm-hmm.
Just stunning. And she gives him medicine for his back,
Yep.
Yep.
Which
that
he-
was
Sweet little medicine for
Right.
sweet little problems.
bright green.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know what was in
Mhm.
I don't it was Midori. It was not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so like and so when he gets out of there, I was like, okay, all right, we did it, everybody. Everything's fine. And then we
Nope,
go to the
not so
shed,
fast.
And we go to the shed.
Yep. He finds a chicken in the trash out by the
Right.
street.
Nobody's wasting a chicken.
No.
Like that.
No
I
one's
did like the
throwing
line-
out a chicken.
Audie, I think you were about to mention the line earlier at
Yeah,
Uncle
at the
Philemon's
shop. That was great. He noticed the chickens there, and he asked the guy, like, "What do you do with those?" He's like, "I eat them."
Yeah, that was really good. I laughed out loud.
So Carl follows Mama Lois out to her shed, and she takes a little wooden box out there, and then he watches her do a little voodoo ritual in her shed.
Because he's
Which is-
able to climb up into the
Yeah,
attic
into the rafters.
rafters
of
of
the
this shed,
shed.
without being hurt
This
at all.
Home Depot shed.
But
Not-
as tie
okay.
falls through, he needs to pull it back up, so
That
that,
was-
doesn't get
that
noticed.
was really funny.
And her voodoo ritual is just her chanting nonsense and
Uh-huh.
painting his name
she
in chicken
chants
blood.
his name.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of gibberish.
There is.
Oh, yeah.
But
absolutely
it's
is.
his name on
There's of
a
course like
little
some
wooden
sticks
casket.
that rattle.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And Kolchak gets photos, one of them showing Winwood's name on one of the
Right.
caskets. So he goes back to the office. Winwood shows up, trying to stop everything. He wants to put a stop to this zombie story. And this is where Carl, who's been... One of the things I do like about this series is that Carl not only believes in whatever is going on in these stories, but he also like researches it.
Yeah, he does.
So he has books on voodoo, and he's researching how to take care of the zombie, how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got his paper bag. He's putting everything in. He's explaining to Captain Winwood that you need white candles,
Mhm.
and you have to find the zombie when it's incapacitated or not moving, fill the mouth with salt,
Mm-hmm.
and then sew the lips shut. Sew the mouth
With
shut.
a curved upholstery needle. That was a smart choice.
That was
Mhm.
was
He's
really.
the man
Yeah.
who knows what he's
it was-
doing.
Winwood, of course, doesn't buy any of it at all.
Nope.
And this is when Carl then decides, after Winwood leaves, right? And which is great.
Mhm.
He's like, but you got to be careful with that lighter, because Winwood is going to like bring the fire marshal down on them.
Right.
That's his big threat. And I just
Sure.
love the be careful when you're lighting those candles so you don't violate any fire codes. So Carl's going to take off because he knows where Spasato is going to be, and he figures that's the next victim of the zombie is Benjamin Spazzato.
Right. And also
And,
just the fact that Winwood's involved in this because, oh yeah, he's a dirty cop.
That's true. He does accuse him
Carl
of being a
can't
dirty cop.
prove it anyway, but
Yeah.
he just has
Because
pieced
he's
it
like, well,
together
he
somehow.
must have had something to do
Right, which is
with
why
Francois's death.
he's all up in this and, questioning it and questioning Carl and
Yeah.
all that.
And so Carl's going to take off, and Tony basically makes him take Monique again because Monique is still
Mhm.
there. So one more time, they head out to this alley, I guess, where he knows he's going to be. For whatever reason, it's a back alley, but they
Right.
don't get there in time because we see sort of the very end of Francois snapping more backs.
Right. Bang,
Which is just
eat
a
your
lot
heart
of-
out.
Yeah, it's a lot of close-up shots of just people reacting.
Mhm.
Mhm.
We couldn't afford actual action sequence.
No.
Yeah. I gotta say, I was impressed with the shadowy figure of Francois
Mhm.
when they
Oh, yeah.
when they're doing it. Like they made him very like nobody's really looking at him, seeing him what he's really looks like, so they don't have to show you what he looks like.
Yep, and they got a former professional football player to play him, who was like
Yeah.
6'5", 270 pounds, like just a mountain of a man.
Lou
And that's what we've
Ferrigno was
learned.
busy.
Like, we have at least learned if we do not have any budget, do not show the monster.
Yes.
Yes,
This had
Um,
such a Scooby Doo feel to it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the
uh-huh.
the way the monster was and the just got away like kind of stuff. All
Mm-hmm.
they needed to do was run through some closet doors. And
Yeah, like an
out.
endless
Mhm.
hallway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would have
Yeah.
been Scooby Doo all day.
but Carl and Monique get there just late, and Monique sees the aftermath and kind of just mouth agape, and so he just puts her in a cab and says, "Take her back to Brooklyn."
I love this
And-
Monique story. It just
Uh-huh.
has no
That's it.
bearing on anything. It's
And the
just
cab is
there.
just like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I've
Just
driven a cab.
Brooklyn,
If I
you
got
know.
told
Yeah.
I'm in Chicago and I got told to take somebody to Brooklyn, one of two things is happening. I'm getting paid up front.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to Brooklyn. I'm taking
Mhm.
somebody down the block and letting them out.
Yes.
Although I gotta
So-
say, this does explain why Mrs. Wallowitz asks the way she is if this is her origin story.
Yeah,
Yes.
Headcanon.
This is what I'm saying, right? That's why he's so upset about the boiler at home in the basement. He has been through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Carl does notice what he thinks is probably Francois getting onto a city bus.
Mm-hmm.
And so rather than follow him in the car, he grabs his bag of voodoo stuff and just jumps on the back of the bus, literally on the back bumper, and
Because
rides
he
it.
Yeah.
intended to get on the bus.
Yep,
he
but
tried to
couldn't-
get him to stop, but they
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
You got to be careful of hop-ons. That's
Right.
going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, there was an IMDb goof of like, this zombie got onto a city bus and nobody seemed to notice.
A very well lit city bus. We see
Yes.
from the back of
It
his head,
is
and like,
so bright.
and I'm like, and it's not until we see him later, it's like, there's no way he got on that bus and nobody saw him.
Yeah.
And
No,
didn't
you know what
freak
though?
out.
Listen, as someone who used to frequent public transportation, head down. Don't
Yeah.
head
Weirder
down.
things.
True.
Do
have
not
happened.
engage.
Mhm.
Headphones in.
Mhm.
Do not engage. None
So
of your business.
Carl rides the bus and it takes him to a junkyard, an auto junkyard. And he loses Francois, but he tries to sneak around very poorly. He
In
just
a
trips over
Okay,
bright
everything.
blue
alright.
seersucker suit and white shoes. He is the definition of conspicuous.
Yes.
Yeah, but my favorite part is that when he finally finds like the abandoned hearse
Right.
in the graveyard of station wagons,
Mhm.
when he's opening the back door, it creaks and he like flinches. Like he just like slammed down into a mountain of hubcap. He found the
Yeah.
hubcap that he needed
Yeah.
to replace on the tire from when they broke down on the side of the road and Ralphie lost all the
Yeah.
bolts. And he's like, oh no, this slightly creaky door is going to be what gives
Mhm.
me away. He
Yeah.
leapt from one station wagon to another.
I was gonna say he jumped down onto several cars,
Yeah.
but somehow made hardly a noise doing that. But
And look, those
Oh, this
shoes,
is
they're
it.
called sneakers for a reason, Audie.
They help you sneak.
They're for sneaking.
I forgot he was wearing
Yep.
sneakers.
Which was that was a joke in the previous episode about his shoes. Because he goes to a massage parlor, and the woman working at the massage parlor asks him if he's a tennis player. And he's wearing sneakers.
I mean, at that time, 74, like
Oh,
a
Yeah.
grown
That was a
man
big
in
thing.
shoes like that's not typical.
Yeah. So he opens the door, he sneaks in. I do appreciate that for this whole scene, which is meant to be very tense, they sprayed down Darren McGavin so he just looks
It's
No, yeah.
drenched.
just
drenched.
drenched in flop sweat.
Yes.
Oh, he was so damp.
Just sweating.
Mm-hmm.
But he pours the salt in. He's getting
Well,
ready to sew.
We
his
finally
mouth shut.
see Francois's
pretty-
face.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing. Because Mama Lois said, well, he's not in the ground because we burned him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, that's what my family does.
Mm-hmm.
Probably so they don't come back as zombies, honestly. Is probably my theory on
That would be a pretty good guess.
that. But, yeah, so he doesn't look good.
He doesn't look good in the freaking dark. Like, can you imagine what he looked like on that bus?
Do not
And-
engage.
I mean,
Nope.
I'm
Pull
just
your
gonna
mask
say
up a little bit and, you know,
Just head down.
grab your scarf.
the makeup budget for this show was nothing. They had none.
No, yeah.
No.
Because he's very clearly wearing like a shirt of some kind
That's
to
fine.
give that look. It's
Mhm.
fine.
Fine.
Whatever. I wouldn't have shown the zombie at all. Is
No.
basically what I'm saying.
Well,
He's
they had to
rotting
show-
really fast. Like, he's decomposing very quickly.
They had to show him enough to show Carl actually putting the salt in his mouth and about to,
Yeah.
sew up his mouth. I was like, oh.
I was like, oh, they're not going to show. They can't. It's 1970. They could not. They got close.
yeah,
Yeah.
they did. Mhm.
But then Francois wakes up
I was gonna say,
and starts chasing him. And conveniently, there is a
hanging
noose, I guess, just a rope with a
Mhm.
loop in the bottom of it. At
It's fine.
at-
There's no extra levels of meaning anywhere in there. It's fine. It's just a rope gang.
now
junkyard.
it
They could have
was-
been roping stuff and pulling it here and there. Who knows?
Sure.
You know?
yeah, that's how you do that in a
With
junkyard.
That's how
regular
junkyards go.
Now, I will say that
Uh-huh.
it was stated earlier that if you can't sew their mouth shut, that the only other way to do it is to strangle them.
Right.
But this conveniently placed rope does strangle Francois,
Mhm.
and then Carl does have to light his white
You gotta light
candles
the candles.
Yep.
underneath. And that ends it, but it also wrecked his camera. He fell on his camera and it broke.
Yeah. So now
All
he
That's
has
why
a
he
film
only
with
has
it,
one
yeah.
suit.
Yeah, and that's that running theme throughout the series is that stuff like this happens to him where he gets the evidence, he gets the photos,
Mhm.
and then his camera gets broken, or he gets photos and the police
right.
go through all of his stuff and they expose all the film.
Or he tapes the mobsters talking about what they're going to do, and they catch him
Yeah.
and they break the cassette.
He can't
All
prove
of that.
anything.
They did give
Um,
him. They did at least not. They took the tape. They
Right.
did give him back his tape recorder.
Mhm.
That's true.
Which I thought was very sporting of them.
So he gets back to the office and Tony's on the phone with Monique's uncle
Mhm.
and asks where Monique is. He's like, I put her in a cab to Brooklyn. He put her in a cab to Brooklyn. What? You're delighted? You didn't want her here? Like that whole story just gets wrapped up.
Oh,
That's
right there.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Abe didn't actually want her there. Thank you for doing this. Good job. It's like, oh, okay.
Mm.
And then because endings are hard, we just get a voiceover wrapping it all up. Captain
Right.
Winwood was not charged with anything, but he was suddenly asked to retire. Mama Lois was sent back to Haiti. And Francois was buried for a third time. This time with his mouth full of rock salt and his lips sewn shut.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. But as he's telling the story, he's taking the things out of the bag, the burnt candles
Right.
and the salt and the string and okay. And the
Mhm.
string
With the needle.
with the needle, and then he throws that in the trash. That's not hygienic. And then he knocks the salt
Mhm.
in, and then he like touches, like he like licks his finger or something. And I was like, ah, oh
Uh-huh.
God, no.
And I also noticed earlier, like these are trash cans that back then, not lined at all. So it's just like that's all going into the trash
I mean,
can.
it's
Oh,
fine. Monique's gone. Nobody else is gonna empty
Yeah.
him. Don't even worry about it. He's just gonna sit there for the foreseeable.
And that is the end of this episode of Kolchak, the Night Stalker. So, production value and casual 70s racism aside, Amy, would you watch more of Kolchak, the Night Stalker, or is it just something you are like, well, that exists and we can move on?
I mean, I wouldn't be mad to watch it, but I probably wouldn't like choose to watch it. But if it was like, we're watching it, this is the new spin-off podcast where we watch all of Kolchak, I'd be like, yeah, all right, let's
Okay.
go, I guess. Let me just buckle up. Sure.
Audie,
It was fun.
Audie, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm in a similar boat with Amy. Like, sure, let's do the podcast and we'll watch it then. You know, if there's something interesting I really need to see, I might go back and check out like that part of the episode, like you
Mhm.
said, the headless horseman with a samurai sword kind of thing. Like okay, I'm interested enough. I was actually really impressed with how well they did work with the production value that they had. Like
Yes.
having no lighting and still making all this work in those dark places and being able to see Darren McGavin and all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I was actually impressed.
Steven, how about you?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I would turn this back on. There was stuff that I liked about it. There was stuff that I didn't. It was between a comedy and a scary. I don't know what to think of it. Like if you put me in elevators, explain Kolchak, the Night Stalker, I'd be like, well, the Night Stalker part of that title doesn't tell you anything.
No.
Like it's kind of like I don't know what I expected. I don't know what I was looking for.
Mhm.
But it wasn't any of those things.
Right? Yeah.
Whatever I was
Yeah.
looking for, I didn't get it. But it was fun.
No.
I mean, it was fun to watch. I think it's not enough of whatever. It's not enough of one of its elements that it was, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But this is the show that crawled so that things like the X-Files could walk.
Yeah.
And it sort of set the stage for like, we're going to do a thing that does have the supernatural angle to it, but also like are put upon like Fox Mulder was always trying to get the evidence, and the evidence would always like slip away or something would break or whatever it was plausibly deniable.
Right.
And that was basically Carl Kolchak in a nutshell. Now, we didn't get a couple of recurring characters in this episode. Jack Grinnage played another reporter named Ron Updike, who is like kind of Carl's rival in the office. Carl always calls him Uptight. And we didn't have him. We also didn't have Ruth McDivitt as the advice columnist, Ask Emily.
I was going to say, this was a big place that nobody else seemed to work at.
no one was
so-
there.
Yeah.
If you watch the first episode, which deals with Jack the Ripper,
Mhm.
who is in Chicago killing people.
Yeah.
Updike is in that episode. He is given the assignment because Carl has upset the police by apparently pretending to be a police commissioner, according to whatever Tony says. So he gives Updike the story, but he can't handle it because he's not a investigative reporter. And in that episode, Ruth McDevitt is actually in it, but not as her character. She's just like a busybody that lives across the street from where Jack the Ripper lives. And so she sees him all the time. And that's how he finds him. But it actually is Jack the Ripper in that episode. Like, because he's not only dressed like that, but he's like supernatural. Like he jumps off a 4-story building at one point. There's a scene with the police in a shootout that it's just every bullet is fired at this building at this guy and nothing even slows him down. It's kind of crazy.
All right, I found
okay.
one more I'm going to watch.
Yeah, I said I wasn't going to watch any more of this show, and I just went through the list of the IMDb list of episodes. And
There's some pretty great ones.
Every one of it's Scooby Doo. It's Scooby Doo with one dude.
Yeah.
No, it absolutely is. And I both wish that this had lasted longer, and I sort of understand why it didn't. And in a way, I think it's almost better that it didn't, because I don't know.
Because sooner or later you're gonna wind up with him doing ayahuasca and seeing like cat demons.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
happens with these kinds of shows when they go on so long. So,
Mhm.
you do run out of the standard fare.
But it's
I
a
do
great.
want him talking to Del Toro's Frankenstein, though. I think
Yeah.
that'd be
Mhm.
A-okay.
And Carl as a character and as a look is great. Just the blue, rumpled, dirty seersucker suit, tennis
Yeah,
shoes,
he's
and
Yeah.
not
his
quite
straw
Columbo.
hat.
He's if Columbo was a reporter
Yeah.
Yeah.
and didn't
lot of
have
that.
anyone to love him, like Mrs. Columbo.
Exactly. I will in the first TV movie he does have a girlfriend in the Night Stalker, but no one here and no home life. But that's Kolchak, the Night Stalker, and that's a show that I'm just glad you three got to see, so that some other human beings know this exists. Because I've mentioned it a couple of times this week that we were watching it, and most of the responses are like, "Wait, what's that?
What?
Yeah.
Right.
What?
Cole what?"
Mhm. Wait,
so yeah.
Kojak? No.
No,
Cole.
yeah, that's what I did. I was
No.
expecting Telly Savalas, and I did not get that.
We did not get Telly Savalas.
No, we did not.
No. No, we got Darren McGavin, which I love
It
Darren
was
McGavin.
great.
He is awesome. I love that guy.
So yeah, did we get any feedback?
We did. We got an email
Excellent.
from our favorite listener, Sean Bloom. I'm not to offend all the other listeners. You're all our favorites. I just said
Mhm.
that.
We'd like you better if you emailed.
Yeah,
though.
but he
Mhm.
is a notch above because he sends us things. Said, hey, all. Looking forward to the live stream tonight. This is my first time watching this show, but I think I remember hearing this show mentioned in an episode of Seinfeld. The only thing I knew is that it starred Darren McGavin, who I grew up knowing as the old man in A Christmas Story and as Billy Madison's dad in Billy Madison. I've actually forgotten that one.
Right.
Once again, I'm thankful for the Internet Archive since it doesn't seem to be streaming in Canada. As a quick side note, did you know that the Internet Archive recently celebrated a big event for 1 trillion pages archived? The event was live streamed on YouTube and worth checking out. Thank you all for giving me reasons to rewatch childhood shows and check out some shows I've never seen before. Sincerely, Sean. So big shout out to the Internet Archive for making it possible to watch junk in Canada by various maybe legal, maybe not means. Thank you, Internet Archive, for also being the place where I put my first ever podcast on the internet because I had no money and you could upload for free there. It was great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And now it's there forever.
Now it's there for us. Yeah.
Got a
Paralegal.
couple responses on the Blue Sky too.
Oh, nice.
Our buddy Corey Scott said it's only in the last couple of years I've started to catch some of the Kolchak stuff. The first 2 movies. My dad was a fan and told me about it when X-Files was still a thing.
Yeah.
I'd like to do a whole watch through of the series at some point.
Corey, this is our podcast project that we've literally been talking about for like 10 years. Let's
Perfect.
go.
Here it is.
Let's go,
There
Corey.
you go.
And then one other from Mara Fane on Blue Sky. I remember the one with the invisible energy monster and the swap monster that could look like people you both scared the crap out of me as a kid. Fun series.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one in particular is one of the highest rated episodes of the series. It was called which one was it? Because I think it was the episode right before Chopper. Horror in the Heights. Residents of Roosevelt Heights neighborhood are being caught off guard and killed by a demon with the ability to appear as a person they know and trust.
Ooh.
Don't like that.
No, I could see that being real scary.
Mhm.
Also, Richard Keel was in a couple of episodes.
Yeah,
of
we
the
love
series.
him.
Nice.
One of them slightly problematic, where he plays a Native American.
Yeah, that's-
It's fine.
It
That's
happens.
fine.
I do want to make a correction. I said Sterling Holloway earlier. It was John Fiedler who voiced Piglet, but he sounded an awful lot like the original voice actor. Threw me off real bad. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's all tied together in your head.
It is, but I just need to say it because someone is
Someone-
listening to this
yes.
podcast just yelling and they haven't stopped thinking about how wrong I was at the
There's
beginning. and
nothing
it
I
just-
else.
mean, you were
since
going to
then.
give them a reason to email us.
Ah,
Stephen.
shoot, you're right. I ruined it.
We could have retracted it next week.
Dang it.
So that brings to a close our spooky season,
Mhm.
which means it's now the holiday season.
Yeah.
Oh,
The holidays, all of them.
Let's
Yep,
go.
Just all of them at once. But because of that, that's where we're heading. So, Audie, where are you taking us next time?
So I was trying to figure out what we could watch because I just thought about that today. And I figured I'd just, hey, what's some Christmas episodes? Just go for that. We've looked at a lot of specials, and I think we need to dive into more just Christmas episodes of stuff. So I found one that's actually streaming online. We're gonna watch season 1, episode 13 of Highway to Heaven,
Oh,
Oh.
snap.
called Another Song for Christmas, and it's on Prime right now. So
Oh, Michael Landon.
exactly.
Ah.
Uh-huh.
Let's go.
So this is one of those. It's like, oh
Unbelievable.
man, it's about time we talk about this show.
It is about time we talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
this show.
No, it's a good one. I haven't thought about that show in a long time. I always think of either Highway to Heaven or there was a Mystery Science Theater episode. They did a movie called I Was a Teenage Werewolf,
Yep.
starring him.
Yep.
Mhm. Well, there's that, and the other one we will get to eventually, Little House on the
It's in the
Prairie.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Awesome. Well, that's going to be a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
can't wait for that. And then we'll have some more fun holiday, Christmassy themed episodes coming up for
Mhm.
you as well as we wind down 2025 here on Those Were the Days at Those Were the Days HQ.
Lord, yes.
Wind it down, burn it to the ground. Whatever happens. Plus, it doesn't
know.
have to be Christmas. It could be. It could
Right.
be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And really winter, like wintry is good.
Sure.
Yep, wintry,
Thanksgiving's
yeah.
fine.
That's
We'll
why
hit
we're
New
saying more
Year's
holiday.
eventually.
Yeah.
Ish.
Just something wintry
The Highway
before.
to Heaven, though, is pretty definitive, I think, on where it's gonna land. It's just a theory.
Yeah, probably. Excellent. Well, definitely come back for that. If you want to email us, you can. Those are the days show at gmail.com. You can find us on Blue Sky, those days show.bsky.social. Definitely give us your feedback. We want to know, did you watch Kolchak, the Night Stalker? Did you watch Highway to Heaven? Had you heard of Kolchak, the Night Stalker?
Right.
Any of these. We want to hear from you. Be like a stigma, please. And email us and all of that. But you can find all of our social links in the show notes. And until next time, when we watch Highway to Heaven, I keep your stick on the ice. I don't know.
Keep
Wrong
creeping
show.
around in weird cities looking for stuff.
There you go.
Buy a seersucker suit. Bye.
And a $2 hat.
Yes.